Hi guys, my name is Mr. Fraser. This is NeonMaths. Bright maths, bright future. In this session we're going to be looking at how we simplify surds. Now this is the second in the series of videos on surds. In the previous video we looked at how we multiply and divide with surds. If you haven't done so already, it might be a good idea to check that out first. It's a really common thing that we're asked to do in exams where we're asked to write a number in the form a root b. Well, what exactly does that mean? Stay tuned to this video to find out. I hope you find this useful. Please subscribe to my channel. This is NeonMaths.
The syllabus is goal-based, very strategic, building up a temple like the pharaohs in Egypt. Wise kings gotta take care of the kingdoms, gotta live to learn maths, want it harder than B.
So what do we do when we have a number like the square root of 50? Is that a surd? Can we simplify it any further? Well, in the last part of this session, we're going to look at what we do when we have numbers like that. How can we simplify this further? It's a really common exam question where we're asked to write a number like root of 50 in the form a root b, where a and b are both integers. Okay, so what do we do? Well, what we need to do is we need to be aware of our rule of multiplying surds together. Okay, because this is an example of one of those questions, like I mentioned earlier, where we need to work it backwards. And the first thing that I would encourage you to do is think about your square numbers. Ask yourself, can you write this as a number multiplied by a square number? Because if you can, then you can simplify it. Okay, so here I've written down the first 10 square numbers. Remember, a square number is the number that we get when we multiply a number by itself. 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4, 5 times 5, 6 times 6, all the way up to 10 times 10. So going back to the question we wrote down earlier, root of 50, I want to write it into the form a root b, where a and b are integers. I'm looking at this number and I'm asking myself, well, can I multiply any number by one of these to get that? And in this case we can. We can write this as root of 25 multiplied by root of 2. Okay, so remember, going back to the first law that we looked at when we were multiplying numbers, surds together, this is the backwards version of that. We can write square root of 50 as square root of 25 multiplied by the square root of 2. And then we can simplify it. Well, I know that the square root of 25 is 5, so this simplifies to 5 root 2. We've written it in the form a root b, where a and b are integers. Okay, so let's look at this example. The square root of 72. I'm going to try and simplify that. Well, is it a surd? Can I simplify it any further? Absolutely. I can write this as a number multiplied by one of my square numbers. I'm going to write it as the square root of 36 multiplied by the square root of 2. Okay, square root of 36 is 6. Square root of 2, I can't simplify that any further, so my answer is 6 root 2. Now, there is another way that I could have gone about doing this question. So I could have written the square root of 9 multiplied by the square root of 8. 9 times 8 is 72. This simplifies, so we're left with 3 root 8. Now, that's not the same as that. And the reason that it's not the same is because we haven't finished simplifying this. Okay? In the same way we could, simplify a fraction like 50 over 100. We could simplify it to 25 over 50. If we're asked to write it in the simplest forms, we need to keep going until we can't simplify it anymore. As you can see, we've got a number inside a square root sign that can be simplified further. This could be written as a number multiplied by one of those. In this case, we're looking at 4. So the square root of 4 times square root of 2. Okay, I can simplify this. I'm going to write out the step. 3 times 2 times root 2, and that simplifies to 6 root 2. So, when you are asked to simplify a number that is inside a square root sign, ask yourself, can you write that number as a number multiplied by a square number? I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's useful. Today in the session we've covered how we simplify surds. In the next video, we're going to be looking at adding and subtracting, and also what we do when we need to expand brackets. This is NeonMaths.